welcome back to my channel. Just in case you're new here, my name is Kay and I make videos about planning, journaling, and I'm in the middle of a midlife makeover. In fact, this week is my one month anniversary. I'm trying to do this for 3 months, and I thought I would do a little check-in with you. Now, I don't get a lot of questions about my midlife makeover because I don't have a big channel. So I went into ChatGPT and said, what kind of questions might I answer that people would be interested in? So I have here on my computer screen right next to my camera 10 questions that Chad, as I call my chat, has come up for me that perhaps you're interested in regard to a midlife makeover check-in. So, are you ready? First, let me preface this. It is I'm checking my it's off camera. It is 1:33 a.m. You heard that right. I fell asleep last night. I was so tired. I fell asleep last night a little bit after 6 p.m. And so here I am at 1:33. Yeah, still 1:33 a.m. And I am fully awake. I won't be able to go back to sleep. I have a nice hot cup of coffee. Cheers. Super duper hot. And I'm ready to go. Okay. So this week is the 1 month anniversary. Yay, me. I have been pretty motivated throughout the entirety of the month. I haven't had any days where I was like, oh, this is dumb. Why'd I do this? So that's the good news. I still have 2 more months to go, but let's look at some of these questions that Chad came up with. Okay, question number 1. Oh, old me. Okay, what inspired you to start your midlife makeover journey? Well, that's a really easy question for me to answer because it was pretty clear. I just had this moment where I felt not empty, that's not accurate. I felt very full. I felt very alive. I couldn't tap into it. It was like there was this wall between the inner me and my outer world, and I couldn't get behind the wall to really hear myself. And the messages I was receiving instead of my own voice were messages from my inner critic. I'm not pretty, I'm not desirable, I'm not. And my inner critic is also, it says these things like you're not all these things, and because of that, you must do all of these things. So I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but yeah, it was, you're not these things. Basically, you're not good enough. You're not desired. You're not wanted. So you better work harder. You better be more perfect. You better be more organized. That's kind of how my inner critic works. And I just kind of had this breaking point where I just said, shh, let me listen. And there was nothing there. It was just that thing behind the wall was like, no, I'm not coming out. That's a scary world out there. So yeah, that was kind of the moment for me. Number 2, how did you feel at the beginning of this journey? I felt excited. I felt motivated, but I also knew I had a keen sense of awareness that this was going to be challenging because I've shared on my channel. I think I have like 2 videos posted this past week about identity confusion, about how being in the role of caretaker and investing so much of yourself into the care and well-being of others, sometimes you can lose that inner voice, and you kind of just have this moment where, wait, who am I and what do I like? And I'm so used to thinking about and investing in these other people. How do I turn up that voice? So I had that awareness that journey was going to be hard, because I was also aware that it had been like that for a long time. And I think when you live with something for a long time, it can be difficult to change it. A lot of mind habits get developed around that experience. So I knew it was going to be an unfolding, an unraveling, and I knew I would have to be vulnerable with that. And that's always a little intimidating and scary, but I was there for it. I just knew, I said it on video, and I just knew that I didn't want to see this last season of my life. And when I say last season, I mean that, into retirement for me. yeah, I didn't want to see that retirement process, that bridge heading over into retirement of these continual demands of not being able to hear from myself. Yeah, I just wasn't accepting of that. Excuse me. You get my morning voice, my morning eyes. One good thing about coming on camera and never having any makeup on is maybe when I do wear makeup, you guys are going to say like, wow, you look so much better. Maybe I should save the makeup for the last day of the Midlife Makeover. I'm kidding. Kind of. I don't know. Who knows? What areas of your life did you want to reinvent the most? Myself, in regard to the confidence and the comfort I have in my own body. That was the big one, is I wanted to stop being so heady and start having a more of a somatic body experience with my life. So that was definitely an area that needed to be reinvented. What has been the biggest win so far? Well, I think there's been a lot of physical changes. I mean, I've lost 6 pounds, a little over 6 pounds. I've cut sugar out of my life. I haven't had any sugar throughout this whole makeover. None. No cookies, no cakes, no candy. And if you knew me, I've shared before, I could eat my weight in candy. So, yeah, I've cut sugar out of my life, lost some weight. Movement is still a big deal for me, but we're talking about wins. Okay, definitely those physical things are present, but I think more of the emotional wins for me. My inner critic definitely has days where it's flared up, but I also feel like I'm doing a better job at working with it, at reparenting it, at sending it messages. And I don't have that chatter right now that says you're not pretty, you're not desirable. Now, I don't have chatter either that says you're pretty and you're desirable. So if there's the two ends of the spectrums, I'm not hearing that chatter, but I'm also not hearing positive, affirming chatter. I'm just kind of in this neutral phase. And I think that has a lot to do with journaling. So that's definitely another win, is I keep doing these exercises to try to get that voice out. I keep reading books to try to bring adventure and romance and, all these things that maybe I organically just don't think about into my life. So yeah, the chatter is definitely getting better. So that's a big win for me. What's been the hardest part about changing your life at midlife? Constantly battling the message of, you don't have time, you're too old. You don't have time, you're too old. You don't have time, you're too old. Well, I don't have a lot of time, so that one's a reality for me. But I can make 5 minutes every day. Anybody can find 5 minutes on the clock. So I can make the time. And I'm too old. I'm too old to be pretty. I'm too old to be desirable. Yeah, that's just another one. So that's definitely a hard part for me, is me sending the message to myself of it's not too late. You do have the time. You're not too old for this. You're not too old. You're never too. And I would tell that to anybody, and I would believe it with every cell of my being of like, wait, what? Of course you're not too old. Of course it's not too late. It's the application to myself. Yeah, it's that inner critic perfectionist. Okay, surprising along the way, yes, and it came up in a journaling exercise. I keep, in this past month, I keep reflecting on a woman that I used to be, a former version of myself. She was spunky, she was sassy, she was passionate, she was a loud advocate, like any kind of underdog I would advocate for. I would go to the mat, I would go down, I would get fired for defending and sticking up for. I would, if anybody told me you're not pretty, I would like punch them in the throat. I keep thinking about that woman, and actually she was a very young woman. I had to go way back to find that woman. And trying to, resurrect her. And that's been a hard lesson for me, is that woman is gone. I can't go back to a former version of myself. I have to, going back to that word earlier that Chad asked, I have to reinvent. I have to rediscover a new woman, the woman of today. And that's been really hard, because the new woman today doesn't have a vision of, am I spunky? Am I the ride and die type of girl? Am I the, who am I? Who is this woman? And I have to kind of, I can reflect back on the woman that I was, but I have to also understand that I can't be that woman anymore. Yeah, she's gone, and newness is here instead. So that's been a really hard thing. I'm still working through it, clearly. Okay. Anything surprised you along the way? My husband. So I had shared, we had a pretty difficult conversation at the first weekend. I started to develop a lot of anger with him. And it was kind of like, how could you let your wife get to this point? How could you not tell me every day I'm beautiful, I'm desirable? Like, how could you? And we had a really difficult conversation. He said, he heard that, and he said he would try to support this journey. I don't think he had a clear vision of how we could support. Sometimes my husband, things like that are difficult for him. Sometimes I have to give directions. I'm saying a lot, aren't I? When I process and think, I say that it's a filler. Yeah, but he said he would try, and he meant that wholeheartedly, and he has stepped it up, my friends. Yeah, he has really stepped it up, and that's been a big surprise. Is I was really looking towards this change in me, and what I'm seeing now is a very big change in my husband. So yeah, that's been a pleasant surprise. What tools, habits, or mindsets have helped you the most? Definitely journaling exercises. I think, so I started this in my planner, and you all know by now my tendency is to plan the heck out of everything, organize it. That helps me get a sense of control over things that I don't feel control over. But the danger of planning for me is this: it develops a sense of control over something, but it's here, and it's not necessarily here in the application. So it's a mind thing with me, and that doesn't always translate to real life. So I think that moving from planning to journaling exercises made all the difference. In fact, I can say just in the last 8 days or so, I turned a page, because I was kind of stuck in this planning mode, looking for the perfect way to organize this, the perfect way to check these things off, tick, tick, tick. It was the journaling, the expressing myself, the giving myself time to do the things that, or even just a question, do I still enjoy doing this art, for example? Do I still enjoy painting? I have yet to take a paintbrush to canvas. I've done some watercoloring, but that's it. I'm talking painting. I haven't gone there yet, but I'm doing these little exercises with art to test the waters. Do I still enjoy this? Is this something I want to do? And I have found, yes, I very, very much still enjoy this, and I want to continue to explore that. So definitely the mindset of planning, organizing the hell out of this. Oh, I said naughty words, sorry, back out of this. To journaling, just expressing, playing, exercises, big change. Has helped me the most. How has your self-image changed since you started? So I'm really discovering a lot about my self-image in regard to beauty. That has definitely changed for me. I've been paying attention to my self-care routine, what I would call beauty. I know for a lot of people, maybe beauty is makeup and, things like this. And I'm not really good at that. I don't have a lot of education in that realm. So for me, beauty is really understanding my habits of taking care of myself. For example, brushing my teeth at night. I do that every night. But what I don't do every night is brush my teeth and use a mouthwash and floss and do this whole routine. So I'm discovering a lot about myself beauty-wise. And I think that that's changed how I feel about myself. My image with beauty is I'm becoming more aware, and my next step is I hope to become more knowledgeable. So I'm working on that. But as far as my other aspects of self-image, maybe more of the psychological realm, I can definitely say that I'm seeing myself more as an explorer, and that has freed up a lot. That's been a positive change with my self-image. Is I'm no longer a victim to something. I'm no longer a witness to something, but now I am an active explorer. So yeah, I'm exploring. Okay. What advice would you give to someone else thinking about starting a midlife makeover? Don't wait. Do it today. Do it today. Challenge yourself. We do so many of these challenges, the 30-day challenge, the no spend challenge, we do all these challenges. The midlife makeover is just another challenge. It's a little exercise that we can do to reconnect with the woman that we are today. So I would say, don't delay, do it, and do it your way. Yeah. What's next for you in your midlife glow up? Gosh, I bit my lip with that last word. Owie. What's next for me in this midlife glow up? What is next for me after these 90 days? Is that what Chad meant? I don't know. I'm an explorer. I don't know what's around that next corner. But I know that I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep up this momentum. I'm going to keep it going. I don't know. It may be so chaotic around this channel because, well, remember, I'm exploring. I'm changing. Okay. Now, the last thing that Chad threw on were 5 questions that people it may help people to know about me, like just more information about me. General questions. So this is what Chad came up with. Are you ready? How are you doing? My coffee, I don't think it's quite so hot anymore. My lip still hurts. Definitely not hot anymore. Okay, now it's just kind of hot. Okay, what is one thing about you that most people would be surprised to learn? Ooh, I have a lot of secrets. That may be surprising. Well, I'm a former therapist. I'm a clinical sexologist. I have a doctoral degree in psychology. I think I've shared before that I am a classically trained musician. I play multiple instruments. I haven't played an instrument for over 20 years. That's a story of the day I stopped playing. I haven't picked up an instrument since the day I looked at somebody and said, I will never play again, and I never did. And that is that former version of myself that I was speaking about earlier, that really, that woman believed in herself and trusted in herself, but she had temper. I did. I was feisty. I was just a feisty woman. And yes, a huge fight with, of all things, my the dean of music. I was in college, a music major, and huge fight. And I just said, I will never play for you again. And I never did. Never picked up an instrument again. That woman, man, yeah, she was fearless, that woman. If you could describe, I just have to go back. I was so fearless, that woman. I had so much trust and confidence in myself. Nothing intimidated me. Like if I was living paycheck to paycheck, had no money, and by the way I was, but I'm just saying, you know, hypothetically, and had no money, and something happened at work that didn't sit with, did I say worked? Work, that didn't sit well with me, I would quit. I would have quit. I wouldn't have given a thought to, girlfriend, you have no paycheck, you know, what are you going to do tomorrow? I would have had no thought about that. I would have said no. I was very, always very, I don't want to say ethical, a right or wrong girl. Like when you did wrong, if I saw you as a bad person, that really activated me. Like I didn't like people who lied, cheated, stole, hurt other people. So if I had a boss that was really, you know, not kind to people, I wouldn't have put up with it. I would have yelled at them and said, why are you treating people like this? You can't treat people like this. I quit. I'm not going to be a part of this. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. Classically trained musician. Haven't played my instrument since the day I said I won't play for you anymore. Okay. That may be surprising to know. Okay. If you could describe yourself in 3 words right now, what would they be? Explorer. Number 1. Number 2, I am quite passionate, and that's starting to show more, come out more, and it has come out more in this past month. Word number 3, I'm loyal. I'm a very, very loyal person. Yeah. What's a daily ritual habit you absolutely love and can't live without? Daily planning. Yeah, I couldn't. It's so centering and grounding to me. And even though it's evolving, it is evolving how I'm planning. And that's been a very good thing. I'm letting go of that control and moving more into that discovery. But I still can't live without it. Morning coffee, cup of coffee, planner. I'm still loving my binder planner. I don't think I'll ever go back to a fixed planner. Yeah. Who or what inspires you the most right now? Who or what inspires me the most right now? You know, that's a hard one for me because right now I'm really trying to be inspired by me. I'm trying to allow myself to feel inspiration from myself. So I'm going to leave it internal right now because I don't want to leave that spot. That's an important, you know, exercise for me. Man, I've managed to read through this whole list here without having to use my glasses. That's pretty amazing. Hopefully I got these questions right. I'm not misreading them. What would your younger self be most proud of if she could see you today? That former woman that I've been talking about. I'll go back to that woman. She would say, it's about time. It's about time, Kay. Go kick some ass. Yeah. Yeah. She would be very proud of that, I think. Yeah. Just to let you know, that former woman happens to be the woman that I was before I had kids. Before, sorry about that. I was feeling I was going to get a runny nose. Yeah, which you all know I've shared on my channel before. You know, I went through a lot of traumatic experiences after, you know, when I had children. Yeah, I think that kind of beat all of that spunk and feistiness out of that woman. I'm glad to see it coming back. Well, I just spilled my coffee all over my desk. Yes, sorry for that abrupt ending. And I went to go take a drink and instead knocked it over and had to stop that video very quickly and clean it up. I think I've just stained my desk pad. So if in future videos you see a slightly off-white desk pad, you know, you were here when all of that happened. And the good side is it smells divine in my office now. It smells like I am brewing coffee in the office. This is probably, though, a really good time to end this video. If you have stayed until the end to watch all of this, thank you. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate you. And I hope you have a really good week, what's left of it. And yeah, until the next time, may you be blessed.